When I disclosed my pregnancy, Mill demanded half my pay and accused me of trapping her son. Am I a jerk for canceling the wedding and leaving? Gary, 30 million, and I, 28 feet, were supposed to marry next week, but his mother, Linda, 55 feet, had an unexpected conversation that changed everything. I feel completely lost and need help. I met Gary at a birthday party 2 years ago through mutual connections. Even though I was outgoing and he was quiet, we clicked immediately away. Gary, unlike my business career, loved his high school students. I enjoy Gary's shyness and introversion, even though we met at a party. He was genuine, unlike other guys who tried to impress me. We got serious after 6 months of dating. We talked about moving in after spending time together. Linda, Gary's mother, suggested we move in with them to save money. Gary, who had always lived with his parents and didn't mind, agreed. Although I valued my independence, I was nervous, but the money made sense. Linda said we might save money by living in her and Tom's huge 5-bedroom home. I reluctantly left my flat and moved in. Linda seemed pleasant at first. She always made our favorite dishes and included me in family events. A stay-at-home mother, she enjoyed caring for her family. Her husband, Tom, was a construction worker but rarely spoke. Linda ran the house and made all decisions. They enjoyed their first few months there. Linda did all cooking, cleaning, and laundry. I worked hard at work and needed to rest at home, but she wouldn't let me help. Gary and I helped with groceries and electricity, but it was little compared to what I had spent. Gary and I became closer after moving in together and started talking about marriage. Gary proposed on my birthday last year using his grandmother's ring. Linda started wedding planning immediately, clearly excited about the engagement. Her happiness made me comply with all her many suggestions. It was all going well until last Thursday, when we chose a next week wedding. Linda requested coffee with me alone to discuss a wedding matter. It seemed like last-minute planning or a family tradition. At lunchtime, we met at a cafe near work. She immediately made a strange request after a brief wedding planning conversation. After we married, she required me to deposit half my monthly income into her account. I was shocked and confused. She said it was for Gary and my financial security when I asked why. She said Gary agreed after we discussed it. The sound was fantastic. She brought this up a week before the wedding, even though I had lived with them for over a year and organized it for months. After telling her I needed time to think, I left the cafe. So many questions ran through my thoughts. Why didn't Gary mention this earlier? Why does she want my money? I asked Gary about it when I got home that night. After some anxiety, he said his mother had told him a month before. She warned him we couldn't live in her home after marriage if we didn't accept her demands. Gary told me he kept it from me because he was scared we would have to move out and couldn't afford a house after all the wedding fees. I was unhappy Gary suppressed this information for a month. We always told each other everything. We spoke up even when we disagreed. This was a complete disappointment. Gary stated his mother simply wanted our best interests, but I didn't understand how removing half my pay helped us. Since only Gary and I know I'm 2 months pregnant, I'm worried about the whole thing. It was nice even if it wasn't planned. We decided that I would leave my job to care for our baby after the birth. Gary supported this approach, and we budgeted accordingly. Obviously, he hadn't told his mother. I haven't told my parents about Linda's request because they live out of state. I don't want to worry them because this wedding was expensive. My best friend proposes I talk to Linda again to understand her perspective, but I'm terrified to do it alone. I'm clueless with 7 days until the wedding. Gary tells me to accept Linda's terms for now and stop overreacting. He thinks we can work out anything, but I think this is just the start. What else will she demand before marriage if these are her demands? Gary hid this from me for a month, making me wonder everything. I need advice. Am I overreacting? Since we need a home, should I accept her terms or risk damaging our relationship by refusing? First update. After reading your remarks, I decided to tell Linda about the pregnancy again. If she knew about her expecting grandchild, she might change her mind regarding pay. Looking back, I was silly to believe that. Gary was needed since I didn't want to talk to Linda alone again. When I told him this morning that I was telling Linda about the pregnancy, he said he had additional school lessons and had to stay back. I thought it odd since it was spring break, but I didn't ask. Yesterday night, I met Linda alone in her kitchen after she cooked dinner. Tom watched TV in the living room again, totally oblivious of home events. Despite my nerves, I ended it now. I started by telling her important news. 2 months pregnant, I was expecting her granddaughter. I expected some thrill or joy from her. However, she reacted oppositely. With her rage-flushed cheeks, she yelled loudly enough for the neighbors to hear. I was labeled deceitful and accused of tricking her son with this pregnancy. She said I planned the whole thing to ruin their family's reputation. Gary and I had lived in their home for 2 years and were getting married in a week, which surprised me. Was this pregnancy trapping anyone? She went insane when I informed her I would quit my job after the baby was born. She faces the kitchen and says I can't resign since they need my pay for home basics. She dropped a bombshell when I told her I never promised to pay her my paycheck. Gary had guaranteed her my money months before his proposal, she said. I thought I was punched in the stomach. Gary always knew her goals and cooperated. But Linda continued. She kept saying my unwanted pregnancy had wrecked everything. She said she only allowed our marriage because I had a good living, and that she didn't need the wedding now that I was resigning. I contacted Gary immediately but got no answer. My calls went to voicemail despite my numerous attempts. I waited for him to get home at 9 p.m., and Linda told him everything. Rather than protect me and our child, he supported his mother. He advised me to use birth control more carefully, and that my wish to quit was causing unnecessary stress. It was hard to believe that Gary had been excited about the baby just days earlier, started browsing baby names online, and assisted me with morning sickness. He changed completely when his mother was there. Gary slept on the couch as I cried in our room all night. He never checked on me, even then. He recommended I accept his mother's demands or postpone the wedding until we could work things out when I spoke with him again this morning before he left for school. He didn't even disclose that his mother had insulted me or threatened to cancel our wedding because of our child. As I think about it, Gary has never actually argued with his mother. When she criticized my outfit, he encouraged me to dress modestly. When she reorganized our room without asking, he said she was helping. After she changed our wedding plans without notifying me, he said I should be grateful. He continuously told me to change or justified her conduct. I told my mother everything because I was breaking down. She was furious and promised to get me a plane home immediately. She should not come here to confront Linda, I begged her. She encouraged me to stay with her for a few days and pack some clothes to unwind, typing from my mother's house. Gary keeps calling and texting me, saying I'm hormonal and dramatic due to the pregnancy. He claims that leaving this way embarrasses him and that I should come home to apologize to his mother for upsetting her. My mother thinks I should reconsider this marriage. She claims that if Linda makes similar demands before marriage and Gary can't resist, things would get worse. How they'll handle the baby and me worries her. I doubt the wedding should happen. 5 days. I remember how quickly Gary changed when he chose me or his mother. What happens when she demands more after marriage? Will my child grow up seeing their father favor their grandmother over their mother? Second update. I canceled wedding. I got the strength to make this tough choice after 2 days at my mom's house thinking about everything. Gary suddenly visited my mom the night after my last update. Mom wasn't home because she got groceries. I thought he came to apologize or understand my perspective. He chastised me for embarrassing him and his family by staying at my mom's place. He said family members were calling to ask why I wasn't home and he didn't know how to respond. His demeanor made my grief nausea worse. I told him I wouldn't marry him unless he defied his mother and agreed with my child choice. I noticed his true colors in his comment. We needed a home, so he offered that if I cared about our child, I would keep working and give his mother what she wanted. He said he wouldn't leave his parents' place because I was being difficult by suggesting we rent a tiny apartment. Then I understood Gary would never change. His mother would always control him. Returned my engagement ring to him after removing it. He yelled at me for being selfish. I got his irony. I asked him how he let his mother mistreat his child's mother. Despite his silence, he claimed I was overreacting. My palms shook when I called all our visitors to cancel the next morning. Telling everyone the wedding was canceled 3 days before was embarrassing. Though judgmental, some were understanding. My parents were encouraging and assisted me with suppliers and cancellations. The drama began then. Gary's mother, Linda, spread rumors among our friends. They told everyone I cheated on Gary, so I called off the wedding. They accused me of lying about the pregnancy to Gary. Some longtime acquaintances accepted them and stopped talking to me. Linda sent me nasty mails. She said I had damaged her son's life and would make me regret my decision. She created new social media profiles to harass me, and I blocked her number after she threatened to expose my unstable conduct to my work. I blocked their entire family. Gary kept calling me at various numbers. He sometimes accused me of selfishness when upset. He sometimes begged, saying we could address the matter. He never confronted his mother or apologized for lying to me. Although Gary and Linda were at a family party, my mother helped me move all my possessions out of their home. Tom watched silently as we packed everything. However, helping carry numerous boxes to the car was his most family-related involvement. Returning to my mom's place lets me breathe for the first time in weeks. Some criticize me for being unmarried and pregnant. I prefer single motherhood to a marriage where my husband and his mother dominate my life. Despite my situation, my employer has been compassionate. After I told my manager, she arranged for me to work from home due to severe morning sickness. At least I haven't dealt with coworkers' questions. My sole regret is wasting 2 years with someone who couldn't choose between his mother and his unborn child. Despite the difficulty, I know it was the right choice. My kid deserves better than a grandmother who bothers them and a father who can't speak for them. Third update. My life has altered considerably since my last update. Emma, my beautiful daughter, was born last month. Physically and emotionally, pregnancy was hard. Morning sickness and high blood pressure plagued me throughout the last trimester. My mama was great. She took a 3-month leave from work to support me in my final months of pregnancy and the weeks after delivery. Gary heard Emma was born through mutual contacts. After I gave delivery, he and Linda arrived at the hospital. My admissions form stated that only my family could visit. Linda caused a scene in the hospital lobby when the nurses intervened. She screamed about my taking her son's child and her grandparent rights. Hospital security escorted them out. After this experience, my doctor worried about my blood pressure and monitored me for another day. Gary's attorney called me a week after we got home from the hospital about custody. Linda had been discussing suing on Facebook, so I wasn't surprised. I have a lawyer and we're negotiating custody. My lawyer believes Gary's 505050 custody request is unlikely because he never supported me during my pregnancy. Records of Linda's hospital harassment and threatening texts help me. 2 months ago, something unexpected occurred. Tom, Gary's calm father, visited me secretly. He said he wanted to talk to me for months but seemed nervous. He told me something shocking and regretted not speaking out sooner. Linda had done similar things to Gary's ex-girlfriend Sarah 5 years before. Sarah left Gary before the engagement but demanded part of her fortune. Tom said he wanted to warn me even though Linda had threatened to divorce him if he meddled in family matters. I started work last week. The 30% wage boost makes it better than my previous work. Company maternity benefits and flexible scheduling help Emma manage. My mom has been great with the baby while I work. It gives her something to look forward to daily, she says. Linda persists. She fakes social media profiles to contact me and insult me. She even tried to contact my new company, but my manager was understanding. After hearing Tom's account, a few of our mutual acquaintances who had accepted their lies apologized, but I'm avoiding that family. I return all Gary's Emma gifts. Last week, he sent us a huge teddy bear and a note saying he missed us. I recommend he only talk with our counsel. He and his mother cannot return to our lives with loving words and presence. Emma deserves better than a father who couldn't defend her before she was born and a grandmother who finds her a problem. I probably won't update again unless the custody situation changes significantly. I'm glad I called off the wedding on instinct. Breaking up before marriage can be better than being in a dominating marriage where you lose your freedom and dignity. Emma is waking up. Thanks to everyone for clarifying up my confusion 6 months ago. Happiness counts most even when life isn't perfect.